Okay, we might as well get going a few minutes early here. We have at least 4 or 5 people checked in thus far. So good morning, everyone, and happy Easter. This is WA6LDI Net Control for the South Orange Amateur Radio Association Sunday morning 40-meter net. This net meets every Sunday on this frequency, 7.2 megahertz, up or down a few kilohertz due to QRM. So anyway, let's go to the top of the list. As far as a subject matter today, I'm going to give it a toss-up here, and you guys can chat about whatever comes to mind. So we have first on the list George on 6VNI, an old buddy of mine that I haven't seen there since I've left HRO. And then we have Charlie, KC6FZY. After Charlie, we have Mike, KE6IWM, and then we have Ed, WA6CD. That's what we have thus far. Let me see if we can bring anyone else on board so I can get this log here filled up. Any other stations that wish to check in at this time? If so, please come now. KR6ISS, Bill. And good morning to you, Chris, KR6ISS. Any others? Okay, thus far we have 5 people that have checked in. Get you all logged in here, Chris. Okay, as far as the topic goes, I'm going to toss it up today. You guys can discuss whatever you'd like to discuss. I wanted let me see here. We have first on the list is N6VNI, then we have Charlie, KC6FZY. Third, we have Mike, KE6IWM. And I had WA6CD, and then Chris, KR6ISS. So N6V&I to pick it up. This is WA6LDI.
Well, good morning, Bill and Annette. This is George, N6V&I in La Habra. And yeah, I guess the last time we get to see each other is when you left HRO and when I left HRO. Anyway, the question for me this morning was not the topic, but a question. Is anybody on this net dabble in RTTY? I've got a very unique question, and what it is I transmit, and somebody will come back to me and say, in the written word, will come back and say, you've got a strong signal, but I can't read you. And he says, switch away from reverse. And every time I go to reverse, then I don't get them at all. So I don't know what the problem is. The program is MMTTY, and the radio is the HU FT101 Mike Papa. Back to you, Bill, N6VNI.
Okay, very good there, George. Well, I can't answer it. I did have, I did work RTTY many years ago, and it was all mechanical, so to speak, no special applications or anything else. But had a lot of fun. I haven't played with it since. I've got to talk to you a little bit more about the application that you're using. If it's just a computer application, I'd love to check it out. Okay, very good. Hopefully someone will be able to answer your question. After George, we have Charlie. After Charlie, we have Mike. After Mike, we have Ed. And last but not least, Chris. So KC6FCY Charlie to pick it up. This is WA6LDI.
Yeah, WA6LDI, Phil. This is Charlie, KC6FCY, operating portable server here in Henderson, Nevada, where the sky is clear. It's a little cool, probably in the low 70s, and no wind, but it'll probably bring up. And George, I've got an ICOM 7300, and it does the RTTY internally, and if you get it tuned up right, you can read it on the screen. And I used it once in the work. That's about as far as I know, but I remember there were a lot of different ways of setting it up. Like you said, you can reverse it, and camera and all sorts of things. So, I don't know, I'm sure somebody's down here on the net that would be able to change it out. use it for down. Well, you're not man. Everybody's here, like Mike is over there, Mike. It's a little weak here. This here, because it's wired there, maybe an S7 and so forth. And with that, how we'll pass it on to a Mike up there in Lombard, maybe 6 guys everywhere. Look at this. He's been at the right place, over to you, Mike.
Okay, thank you, Charlie. Good. I'm receiving everyone pretty good. And KE6 IWM here. And on an antenna, I have to keep my eye on in case the SDR goes way, or SWR goes way off the board. But right now, it's hanging in there pretty good. So, first time we've really used this antenna for a while. I have not used digital modes. I may have tried FT8, I think, one time, but really haven't gotten into it. But RTTY, I know you need PC software, and I just looked it up, and typically a PC with software like FLDigi. FLDigi is the software to use for it, and I have a couple of frequencies listed, 14090 or 3540 and 80, and but there's some information on the internet about it. But I haven't used it, so I can't really give you any first-hand information. I need a little education on that if I want to start using it. But digital modes are really popular, so good luck with doing that, getting it in there. And George, so good luck with that, George. Let us know how you do next time. And I haven't been in the store HRO for quite a while. Let's see, probably before that, like 2019, I think the last time I purchased from HRO and I had a ship, but I haven't walked into the store since probably 2019. So next time I want to get down there and walk in there. Can't think of it. I know I'll buy something if I do, but can't think of what it would be right now. But I always do buy something if I go in. And I dropped a few bucks when I went in last time. And, I bought a amplifier. I mean, maybe not the last thing I bought, but the biggest thing recently was my amp. So always fun getting new equipment. Okay, up here it's, it was 44 degrees when I checked just a minute ago. And yesterday I got up to 80, so I'm hoping it's going to be 80 today. And it doesn't seem like there's any wind blowing, so it should be a pretty nice day. And just did a couple, I usually do a net at 7, or check into the net at 7 a.m., the San Joaquin Valley Aries net. They took Easter Sunday off. I ran the Bishop net on 3.950 at 7:30. So still had 5 check-ins for that, 5 or 6 check-ins. So, and most of the people usually come from one net to the Bishop net. So it's good to have that many people check in for a light day like it is today. Let's see, some activities going on. In about 3 weeks, we're having a meet and greet, swap and meet, something like that up here in Lone Pine for the Ridgecrest Amateur Radio Club, the SOARA Amateur Radio Club in Ridgecrest, and the Bishop Club. So we usually have 30 or so people get together and talk and try to sell stuff or trade stuff or swap stuff. I tried to buy a little antenna, and they just gave it to me. So it's something like that. Really a fun event. So, and my SWR is staying pretty good, so I'm happy with that. And this is the antenna I use on the 40-meter nets during the week when it works. So saying that, let me see. Okay, Ed is next. WA6ED, Ed, take it away from KE6 IWM.
WA6ED, well, thank you, Mike. And you're like an S9, Charlie was like an S8. Go ahead, Charlie. I just use the line. But because of Charlie's location, I've never had good signal. Very rarely. So don't pick on Charlie. Yeah, it's supposed to be up to like 82 here in Lake Forest today, so that's not too bad. Got most of my chores done yesterday. Still more to get done today before going back to work on Monday. And I've been playing around with AI with the Raspberry Pi. That's been a lot of fun. I don't know anything, so don't ask me any questions. I made that mistake in the Saturday net, the SOARA Elmer Saturday Tech Net, and people started asking tons of questions. And I'm trying to figure all this stuff out. But I did ask it to add up all the numbers between 1 and 100. An old math problem, and I think Euclid solved that one. Anyway, it gave the right answer, and it gave the formula, the generic formula for it. So I was actually impressed, and that was all running on a little Raspberry Pi 5. So that was pretty cool, and it wasn't online. It was offline. It was an offline AI model. So that was kind of cool. I'm still dabbling in MeshCore and MeshCore radios. My Muzi antennas showed up, and they all checked out really good on the Nano VNA. I'm going to hand it over to Chris. Good morning, Chris. Go over to KR6ISS, WA6ED.
Well, my involvement in particular has been mainly with Winley, which is a hospital connection. But for a long time, I had this program that was by this French guy who had just about every possible digital mode, both transmitting and receiving, including decoding Morse code. I just opened up my laptop, but I can't find it. It's vanished. But it was PSK. It was mainly supposed to be PSK, but he had everything else on it too. It was by this French guy, and it was free, and you could either transmit or receive almost any imaginable mode on it. So I'm gonna have to find out what happened to that program. It seems to vanished off my computer. So I've had some involvement with digital, and I think that frankly, if I was up to me, I think it would be required to get a license that you have to be confident in digital transmission, because particularly for emergency purposes, I think that's particularly important for that, the same data. So, it is a phenomenon that a lot of amateurs have clueless about digital transmission. Anyway, I'm going to pass it on back to Phil. I think I'm at the end of the line. Take it, Phil. KR6ISS.
Okay, very good there, Chris. KR6ISS on the group WA6LDI. Very good. Yeah, like I said, I worked RTTY many, many years ago. Really enjoyed it, and then started doing other things as far as amateur radio. But like I said, it's pretty cool. And now with the digital modes, I also work PSK 31, I believe it's called, and FT8. I'm still having problems with my computer on that. With the COM ports, it keeps getting messed up. So what can I say? All right, let me see if we can bring anyone else on board at this point. Again, this is WA6LDI. Net control for the SOARA Sunday morning 40-meter net. Any other stations wishing to check in, please come out.
W6EDT.
And good morning to you, Dale, W6EDT. Any others? Okay, we'll log in there, W6EDT Dale. And let's see here. Dale, we don't have any, we had a question. I'm sure you might be able to answer it for George, M6VNI. It's regarding an issue that he's having with RTTY. You're very into various modes, so you might be able to help him. George, come on in and ask the question once again. M6VNI, WA6LDI.
W6LDI and 6VNI. The question was, every time I go to play RTTY, I get responses like say again, and other responses are you're in the reverse mode, and I hit reverse, and then they'll come back and say, you've got a strong signal, but unreadable content. Try again. And I switch it back the other way again, and it keeps us doing. I'm not getting a solid return. So I'm running RTTY as the program, and the radio is a Yaesu FT101 Mike Papa. Back to you.
Yeah, W6EDT, this is WA6LDI. Can you help George on this issue with the RTTY?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not familiar with that program, nor am I familiar with that transceiver. The fact they say you're in reverse mode, probably the best thing to do is arrange a time when somebody can, I can probably help with this and let you know. Have you sent transmission, and I can watch it on a spectrum analyzer or on a waterfall display and see if I can identify if the tones are incorrectly set. My guess is you're probably, it probably is appearing to people you're slightly off frequency. But I can't say that for sure. So maybe we could set up a time where you could do some test transmission. Anyway, back to that, W6BDT.
Okay, very good there, Dale. Thanks for your help. Appreciate it.
And,
George, you want to
the other gentleman, I went up to the FL Digi, and I'm still roaming around on that page to see what I'm looking for. Take care. Thank you all. And this is George in 6BNI.
Okay, George, 73. If you want to stick around, please do so. If not, I understand. You take care. Again, happy Easter, and we'll look forward to chatting with you again sometime in the near future. So N6VNI and a group WA6LDI.
Okay, Phil, take care. And I'll be talking to you. N6VNI clip.
That sounds good, sir. Okay, let me see here. We have BNI signed. Next, Charlie, K6FZY Portable 7. Pick it up.
Okay, Bill, this is KC6FCY Portable 7 here in Henderson, Nevada. And boy, propagation is really good today. That's amazing. And you're got an S8 here, very comparable. And Dale controlling. Everybody's coming in pretty well here. I can certainly understand everybody. And on the Utah FCR, it sounds like there's a couple of guys operating on the frequency, so it's still a rough to hear anybody talking. Yeah, I looked up RTTY on the internet, and it looks like a lot of people have problems on it. So, I don't know, George looked at it, he tried to find somebody that had the same problem and figured it. But I didn't know if it was called a digital mode or not, but it uses frequency shift keying two tones marking space 170 hertz apart. Yeah, you got those backwards. I guess that could really make a problem. But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. My 7300 has a built-in decoder, and you can just read the text right off the screen, so it makes it real easy. And I have trouble, though, just finding RTTY transmissions on there. Occasionally I'll see one and I'll try and tune it in, but I don't think it's really an RTTY. I suspect you would look at two bands pretty close together and whether the resolution of the waterfall on the 7300 is adequate to do that. Although I suppose you could hear it, and whatever it does there. So that kind of exhausts my knowledge on it, but it is frequency 16, so, and it is digital. Yeah, at least that's what I saw on YouTube. And with that, I'm going to hand it over again to Mike up there in Lone Pine, and hope his antenna is dried out and is working pretty well, and maybe no snow up there. Although there was some snow up in Utah the other day, too. And happy Easter, everybody. So, KE6IWM, Mike, up in Lone Pine. This is KC6FCY57 here in Anderson, Nevada. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, thanks a lot, Charlie. KE6IWM here. No snow. Not yet, although the temperature dropped a little bit the other day, but we haven't had any precipitation for quite a while. they keep threatening something that might come over, but it hasn't. Mammoth did get a couple 6-inch snowfalls recently, so at least they got some fresh snow. I heard reports that due to the warm March that a lot of the snow has turned into runoff, and so the snow reservoir isn't what it should be for this time of year. So hopefully we'll get some more precipitation and fill up the snowpack, the icy reservoir. And my SWR is still standing good, so happy with that. Yeah, I ran the 40-meter net last Thursday, and propagation was terrible. In fact, I couldn't run most of it. I had to hand it off to Station North, way up north to run south, and vice versa. So at least got by that way. So hopefully this is a lot better, and so that's great. I just looked at YouTube, and there's quite a few pages on RTTY on YouTube. So now you got my interest. Maybe I'll look it up and see if I can do something hooked up. Of course, I have my computer right next to the radio, so it's just a matter of running the cable, and I do have a cable. It might even be still plugged in the back of the radio from when I was trying FT8 a couple of years ago. But yeah, it looks like a lot of information on YouTube, so maybe some ideas on that get you by. Usually that's a good place to search for most anything, learn how to do it. I've done that quite a bit. Okay, let's see. Nothing too exciting going on up here. Like a month from now, well, a little over a month from now, it's, I think, May 17th is going to be the Bishop Ultra Marathon. And I've worked that for like 4 years now since I've been up here, so this will be my 5th. And I'm usually up at a really neat place, 15 miles up a washboard dirt road, a nice creek crossing, and a really nice spot, about 8,000 feet elevation. And runners go by, the runners that do the distance farther than where I am go by my station twice. So I get to talk to people a couple times. So it's always a fun event that's coming up. Don't really have too much more this time around, so hopefully think of something next time. So with that, I will turn it over to Ed, WA6ED. Take it away, Ed. K6, IWM.
WA6ED. Well, thank you, Mike. And thank you, Phil, for running the net. Always appreciated. And, yeah, just sitting here trying to read stuff and figure it out. That's what focuses me. And it's kind of nice to get on the net and be able to talk to other people about him radio instead of computers or something. But computers are fun. As far as net, the 10-meter net, we have a 9 o'clock net, and I'm 28.415 for the 10-meter net. And we run that net mainly for if anybody gets their tech license, they can get on HF on 10 meters. But we haven't had any techs lately. But we'll keep trying, and we have fun anyway. So no big deal. As far as FLDIGI, I don't have any experience on it. I've read about it, as well as RTTY and WinLink, and I never got into those. But there's always time to play with new things. My only suggestion is if there's decoding for RTTY built into your radio to try that. That might help. I don't know. But it depends on what radio George has. All right. I think I'll hand it over to Chris, KR6ISS. Take it away, Chris, WA6ED.
Okay, this is KR6ISS. So what I want to talk about is the moonshot. Very timely. You know, there's the strangest thing about this is it's been 54 years, and now we're finally going back to the moon. Why did it take 54 years? When we did this back in 69 and 72, I was just coming out of college, just starting working. And now I've gone through my entire career and really retired. Still working a little bit, but at the age of 78, it's crazy why did it take 54 years to go back and do the same thing again? I actually looked up the 12 people who did walk on the moon, who they were, and is anybody still alive? And it turns out of the 12 people who actually walked on the moon in the Apollo shot, only 4 are still alive. And they're all in their 90s. And I don't think I've heard anybody doing an interview with any of them. Like, they may be too far gone to even do an interview with them. It's crazy. But there are reasons why we just stopped. And that one was the tremendous crushing cost of putting people beyond Earth. It's just incredibly expensive. And then there's the issue, if you're trying to set up a moon base, or some kind of a permanent base to go beyond what they could do on Apollo, there's a big problem. You need water. You need to have some local source of water. And there isn't any. Mars would be the same problem. We can go to Antarctica, which is pretty hostile, but they gotta get water there. So I think it's been a big stopper, and it still is a big stopper. And then there's the issue of radiation. Once you get away from our magnetosphere, we got cosmic rays all over the place that can destroy DNA. So can we really survive any length of time out there away from our magnetosphere? So that's a whole other problem. So I think there's reasons why it's just screwed out. And I think it may not go anywhere this time either for the same reasons. No water, and we can't take the radiation away from Earth. Anyway, that's my feeling on it. Anyway, it's kind of strange. They're going back after 54 years. I'll send it on back to Phil. I don't think there's still anybody else after me, Phil. Share 6 eyes up.
Yeah, it was Dale that was next there, Chris. W6EDT, WA6LDI.
Well, thank you, Phil, and thank you, Chris. And thanks for running the net, Phil. Yeah, it was quite disappointing to me that it was not to go back to the moon and continue building on the successes and some of the failures that we had during the Apollo mission. But, we transitioned to Earth orbiting kinds of things, which is kind of convenient in the technology sense because you can do more stuff. Just closer and, just logistically easier to get there. But I'm not so sure about the water thing. At least on Mars, I was under the impression that there was significant water at the polar cap. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just incorrect about that. Of course, the question is that a place that you would want to land? And I'm not sure that would be, but on the other hand, given what little I know about Mars, I think it's pretty inhospitable, the whole surface of the planet. So it's not going to matter too much. Now, the moon, if you're in the day side, well, you're in the day side. It's going to be that way, and it doesn't change very much because the moon is obviously captured and keeps one face to the Earth pretty much all the time. So I don't know. Water is definitely a problem, and you got to bring a lot of it, or you got to figure out a way to make it. Not sure there's anything to make it from there. So yeah, you need water. Need food too. One thing you got there is plenty of energy though. So maybe there's solutions that you could use all that energy for. But yeah, same sort of thing. I graduated high school actually. I was actually thinking about a career in aeronautical engineering, and then NASA just sort of folded up and went away, and for a number of years, so that sounded like a bad idea. Anyway, I think I may be last on the list, so I'll pass it back to Phil. WA6LDI, W6DDT. Oh, and Ed, you haven't got that lawnmower automated yet, huh? W6DDT.
Okay, very good, Dale. W6EDT and the group, WA6LDI. Well, fine, gentlemen. Really good information there passed along. And yeah, it's been a while since we've actually had boots on the ground, as they say, on the moon. And I can't believe it's been that long, though. Wow, I remember it quite well. Okay, let me see if we can bring anyone else on board. We're at the halfway point right now, so let's see if we have any late or missed people. This is WA6LDI net control for the SOARA Sunday morning 40-meter net. Again, this is an open net. All licensed amateurs are welcome to check in. Do we have any other stations wishing to do so? If so, please come now.
KG6FCT. Good morning, everyone.
So good morning to you, Lou. Glad to have you aboard as always. Any other stations? Okay, nothing heard. Lou, to toss up today, you can discuss whatever you'd like to discuss. We were chatting a little bit there regarding RTTY. We had George, N6VNI, who had some issues operating it there, some technical issues, and maybe you're familiar with RTTY. So come on in and make a transmission, sir. KG6FCT, WA6LDI.
Well, thank you, Phil. This is KG6FCT. And, Phil, I want to thank you for doing the net. And happy Easter, everyone. After the net, we head up to Magalia, to our daughter and son-in-law and grandkids and great-grandkids. And I am sure it will be a wonderful day. And not too much new here on the Ham Fest or ham issues. It's good to hear from Charlie that the ICOM 7300 has RTTY, and it brings back memories of many years ago when the teletype machines were first used as the I/O device or for computers, and also the paper tapes on them. Boy, loading up a computer from maybe a foot diameter paper tape reel. Those were the days. And that's what comes to mind for the moment. Ham radio-wise, I pulled another coax through some existing conduit and had an interesting experience talking about conduit. We had a sunroom put in, and they fed it with thin wall conduit, and that was about 12 years ago. First time I've seen outdoor conduit rust through completely. I was amazed to see just bare wires. So that has been replaced with plastic conduit, which will not rust away. And of course, I have some 2-inch and 3-inch plastic conduit buried to bring antenna coax into the ham shaft. And with that, I will pass it back to Phil. Our net control, WA6LDI. This is KG6FCT.
Okay, Lou, KG6FCT, WA6LDI. Pleasure having you aboard as always here. Okay, let's go to the top of the list. I'm not sure if George is still with us or not, but N6VNI, George, are you still there? This is WA6LDI. I guess he went QRT. Let's go on to Charlie, KC6FCY, Portable 7.
Okay, Bill, this is KC6FCY Portable 7 here in Henderson. Yeah, Lou, that's very interesting on the teletype. I remember when I was in college a long time ago, I was working with IBM 3600, I think it was, a big computer. You had to input your programs on cards and those over, and then you get your output back on the and then the big thing then was teletype machine hooked into that thing, and that was really neat. You didn't have to sit at that IBM thing and do cards and everything. And then I thought, at the time, boy, wouldn't it be great if I could get a teletype machine in the dorm? That would be so great. That's the future of computers. Well, and in my first job, actually, when I was working, that's how we interfaced with various computers, was with teletype machines. Looking back at it, an awful lot has changed, that you can see with how we input stuff into computers now, and with AI and so forth. But yeah, those are the days. Teletype was really a great advancement. And Chris, I was looking up. There is water on the moon, like Dale said. Most of it's up at the poles, and I guess they use radar somehow to determine how much water is up there on the surface and so forth. Not much though in the regular up there. The ash that covers it, it's drier than the air, the desert down here on Earth. But I suppose, presumably, people would think that you could extract enough water there, but you got to purify it. A lot of particles and things that you wouldn't want to drink it like you get it there. But you could make rocket fuel out of it too, I suppose, get hydrogen, and that's really an oxygen. That's pretty good rocket fuel to go to Mars. So that may actually be possible down the road when somebody wants to go to Mars. And speaking of not going back to the moon, I think we were right on about the Mars. It's just one source of information to do that program, and after we did that, we won the space race. So the first as well. And the other thing was the shuttle program came along, and the shuttle was used for scientific purposes, but there's also other users out there, three-letter agencies that had classified payloads that they needed to get up there. So that was another reason where the money went to get us up in space. Okay, and with that, let's see. I'm going to let Mike take over then and tell us a little bit about what's going up there in Lone Pine. Mike, KE6IWM. This is KC6SCY /Senator.
Okay, thanks a lot, Charlie. KE6IWM here. It was a race, a space race back in the 60s, and I think the price was no issue. It was beat the Russians there, Soviet Union, and so we did. The Soviets probably weren't as far along as we thought, so we may not have had to rush as much as we did. But we got there, unfortunately, we did have some accidents on the way. Lost 3 astronauts in a launch pad fire. Unfortunate, but they corrected the issue with that. Hopefully nothing like that ever happens again. And then another cost issue was Vietnam. Just spent a ton of money on that and had to recover. So all the money on the space race and money for war, and so they had to calm down, do all the spending, and then they came up with a space shuttle, which I always felt it was like a boxcar, sending it to space, and that was an unfortunate accident there too. So, and got rid of that, and then the space launch system, that's another expensive program that I think they might have been able to do it without having I'm not sure how many billions of dollars that SLS cost to develop the rocket alone for that, even though they used a lot of used parts, I guess, from the space shuttle boosters and like that. And then SpaceX came along and they're doing things cheaper, so maybe it'll evolve into that. And, in the past it was always you had a vehicle would get to low Earth orbit, and then you transfer to a vehicle to take you to the moon, like in Space Odyssey, 2001. And I think that might be the way it'll probably evolve into, is a good way to get it to low Earth orbit, then have a transfer vehicle to get to where you want to go. Who knows? But, in all the sci-fi movies, that's the way they do it. So, and usually they have a good idea what happens in the future. So, who knows what's going on with that. But hopefully it gets less expensive rather than more. they say there's water ice on the moon in certain places, so, and they do plan to have a base at the South Pole or one of the poles, which they think might have some shelter craters with ice in it. So maybe that'll be the solve the water issue there. And Mars can have water too. Okay, in college, like, one thing, in '69 when they landed on the moon, I was working at the Balboa Fun Zone, a summer job as a carny, running rides and arcades, and got to watch the moon landing at one of the food stands. They had a TV, so that was, always remember that. So that was a good event. Glad we got there, and we're doing it again. In college, I did do programming, and I did use paper tape for memory, and I also used card stacks for memory. What a pain. It took just a while to learn how to manipulate paper tape and cards just to do it right. So, but I did learn some programming, and unfortunately, I didn't get into any technical stuff afterwards. I was not aeronautical. I was nautical, marine nautical for the rest of the time. So, yeah, which is good. Okay, set enough. Let's turn it over to Ed, WA6ED from KE6IWM. Take it away.
WA6ED. Thank you, Mike. And you're bringing back all those bad memories. I remember learning Fortran using punch cards and basic before that, and we saved all our programs on paper tape. And we had TTY. I don't remember the model of the TTY, but you could use those all scattering in the same room. It got noisy in that room from all those teletypes. And then at UCI, I got a dial-in account, and I could dial in with an acoustic modem, and I thought that was slick. 300 baud modem, I didn't have to go into the computer lab to do my assignment. So that was pretty nice, I'll tell you. And then Simula was another language I learned. That was one of the first object-oriented languages. And that was, in the class, it was on punch cards. But they had a punch card printer. And I found out about that printer. So I had another account for another class. So I'd work on my stuff online and then print out punch cards and then send the punch cards in a batch to the line printer for the output for the class. And I never had to sit there at a punch card machine again. Fortran, I had to grind through it, but the Simula, I didn't. So a little bit of history. But that was all with a DEC 10, and I think I have a more powerful computer in my phone than a DEC 10 was. So it's like times have really changed on all this stuff. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and say 73 to everybody. Get ready for the 10-meter net, and a happy Easter. Thanks for running the net again there, Phil, and hand it over to Chris, and I'll probably listen out for a while. Over to Chris, KR6ISS, WA6ED.
Okay, this is KR6ISS. I think the water issue and the radiation issue are two real serious issues on human beings, making any real attempt to put human beings beyond Earth. I think that they could end up being real stoppers. Because we're evolved biological beings that evolved to live on this planet, not somewhere else in space. It's just a matter of just, physical biology that it doesn't make sense to try to live someplace where it's always hostile to life. And for what? What we've been doing the last 54 years is all these unmanned space probes out to Pluto, and that's been productive. That makes sense. All those rovers are still working on Mars. That makes sense. But trying to put human beings out there, where we biologically were never intended to be, that probably doesn't make sense. There was a kind of a facetious cartoon in non sequitur, the cartoon strip in the LA Times a few days ago. They had two guys like they're back in the 70s driving around one of those moonmobiles that they had to drive around in, and the caption said, the real reason we haven't gone back to the moon, and the two guys are talking to each other, and they say, I think we should give up on that. There's nothing to kill here. Of course, that was a big difference when we discovered the New World. There was plenty of people to kill over here. And when we went to Antarctica, there was no people to kill, but we killed all the animals. We did that. So there's nothing to kill. So that was just but I think that I think we're facing some biological realities here on human beings and tolerating, of outer space is not really a place for a human being or anything else in here. So anyway, so it is interesting. It's been so long, and now we're going to go back and probably just reproduce what we did before once again. And I'm not for sure it'll go any further. If they go down to the South Pole, they might find that what they think is water ice to be carbon dioxide ice, or maybe it's so contaminated it's unusable or something. So I'm not so sure it's going to work out. But we'll see. So it's interesting. It's seeing this happen after all these years. I'll go and send it on to. I'm having a senior moment. I can't remember people's names. Send it on to who's next. Whoever that. Scares 6 ISS. I know the feeling, Chris. Okay. Dale, pick it up, W6EDG.
Oh, thanks. Both of you guys. Sometimes I forget to. Yeah, I listen to the old days of computers and paper tape terminals and stuff like that. Yeah. And like one of my first jobs as a programmer was, we had to write our programs out on forms by hand, and then we had a key punch section that actually were in charge of punching them. And of course, they could do it way faster, and so it was presumed to be better economically. But I would I made a mistake here. I need to fix this, and they were not happy for me to go in and use their key punches because they said I left them all disorganized. So anyway, the good old days of computers before CRTs and things like that. But it was still fun. Anyway, I'll pass it to Lou, KG6FBT from W6EDT. Good morning, Lou.
Well, good morning, and thank you. WA6CDT, this is KG6FCT, and I think I'm going to say my 73s to everyone, and start getting ready, where it's 2 hours ride up to Magalia. Part of it's because we have to drive through Paradise, and so a long part is at 30 miles an hour. That's, to me, a slow speed, and but Paradise is recovering. There's less and less remains from that awful fire of several years ago. So we see the changes, and not all the stores have come back. And there are some original buildings that were missed by the fire. Good hearing everybody today. Looking forward to next Sunday. And again, a happy Easter to everyone. And talk to you all next week. And with that, I'll turn it back to Phil, WA6LDI. And I hope, Phil, we hear you more on the Gordo net. Maybe you'll get up a few more times this coming week. Talk to you later, and thank you for doing the net. And this is KG6FCT.
Okay, real fine, Luke. KG6FCTM and group, WA6LDI. All right, very good. Yes, Lou, I apologize for being absent quite a few times there, but there's so much going on and, trying to get everything all squared away. But I will definitely continue to try, that's for sure. Alrighty, well, we got 10 minutes left. Maybe we, for a real quick 73 go-around, that would be nice. So KC6FZY to pick it up, WA6LDI.
Yeah, 6FZY portable server. Yeah, Chris, I think the guys that said we didn't go to the moon, they were something killer. A little bit of a harsh thing, I suppose. But, they're kind of the same people. They have the bumper sticker that saves the environment. Anyway, I was trying to think, though, why we really didn't go back there. I mean, there was no incentive, really, whatsoever, once the political motivation went away. There weren't any places for him to go there, or no other dimensions. He just did economically, there was no benefit to going there. That's why we went to the world, too, get the riches and treasures over there and so forth. But in the future, we need to get up there and redirect comets that have different materials in them, metals, water, and whatnot, to kind of replenish the earth, because we are using up all our basic resources here, oil, coal, and pretty soon it's going to be all gone, and we got to get it from somewhere, even oxygen, who knows, but that's certainly not a concern of my life than anybody else. Well, but in the long run, there may be a reason that we keep going on there. Just I think it's going to be human race. Turn it over to let me see here. So yeah, Mike, KC6 IWM. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, thanks a lot, Charlie. Have a good day. K6 IWM, Mike here in Lone Pine. And Ed's gone, I guess, WA6ED. I was at UCI also for computer. And that was a great computer lab. Well, of course, that's about the only one I've ever been in. But it was pretty interesting. All the machines and the big glass partition where the mainframe was, and all the terminals out there. So, I did about 2 years of ICS, Information Computer Science, there, and learned I learned basics mostly, and a little bit of Fortran. I think I got too busy when I had the Fortran class, so I don't remember how I did it. But basic. I was able to handle that pretty good. In fact, I tutored a couple of other classmates there. I don't know why I picked it up so good, but it sort of came easy to me, that part of it anyway. And that was interesting. Yeah, I tried doing some cybernetics and different things related to that. But I'd been around boats my whole life, so it's sort of easy to fall into that. And I became a business manager, basically, in boat yards, things like that. So. College background helped there. Let's see. They had that illustration of the moon base, and they acted like it's going to be in a couple of years. And I just don't know how they're going to do it that soon. And I don't see how they're going to do it on the surface due to solar conditions. I think they're going to have to be under some regolith, underground somewhat to protect everyone and. Maybe find caves or volcano lava tube type issues to do it. But being on the surface, I think that might be too hazardous, like Chris was saying. So, but and the incentive to get there, well, it's no shortcut to India or the Spice Islands, something like that. So they have to figure out some other incentive to get there. So, okay, that's all I've got. Everyone have a great week. Good to talk to everyone, and we'll do it again next week. So this is K6IWM. Turning it over to, Ed's not, let's see, WA6ED in case you're there. If not, turn it over to Chris, KR6ISS. 73s, everyone, K6IBM. Over to you, Chris.
Okay, I guess I'm supposed to say 73. Today is going to be Doing My Taxes Day. A wonderful way to spend a Sunday. So that's I got a job to do today. So I'll just say 73. Have a good week, and still about a week and a half. So when I'm supposed to go to Japan. So far, the travel agents said they haven't seen any problem with getting fuel for the ship over there. Princess Cruises is not canceling anything or not even a fuel surcharge or anything. So far so good on the fact it's coming off. Anyway, I'll send it on to Dale. And I remember his name this time, under Dale. This is $6.
Well, thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. And it's fun with your taxes. I need to finish mine up as well. So anyway, well, I'll say 73, and still thanks again for running that. This is W6CDT. Back over to, let's see, Lou signed, so it's back to Phil, W6CDT.
Okay, very good, gentlemen. W6CDT and the group, WA6LDI. Really appreciate everyone checking in. A great conversation, and we look forward to next Sunday. So again, everyone, happy Easter, and looking forward to chatting with you all again very, very soon. 73, and God bless. This is WA6LDI Net Control for the SOARA Sunday morning 40-meter net. The net is now closed, and the frequencies return to normal use. 73 all, and thanks again.